All right. And we back. Look, apologies. Look, copyright. Look, see, that's why you gotta be careful. Don't talk about it. Happens though. It happens. But what? Can't nobody take my shot. Can't nobody hold me down. Oh no. Gotta keep on moving. Anyway, so we are back at it. And we're gonna pick up where we left off. Look, we already saw it. We already saw the dang video anyway. You know what I'm talking about. So it's cool, like I was saying. But yeah, man, basically I chose this video but Peace Chief, even though you here, see, producing you like in shadows and whatnot, you know, all stealth, stealth like and whatnot. But yeah, peace and whatnot. Yeah, but I chose this video just to show, how, one action, because it was look, it was either this or Troy. I think I probably picked probably better this than Troy. So but how one action, what hit, what throw a rock, sent an entire army running, and the field is won, but it definitely was a challenge, what I'm talking about, and it, as you can see, the Philistines, they were busting like, yo, son, what y'all doing up here? You know what I'm talking about? But y'all boasted your God can move mountains. What's up with it? We here. You know what I'm talking about? We all up in here. Look at you. Look at us. We dripping even and we in armor. Look at y'all. But yeah, man, it is what it is. But as you say, one hit or one act, one strategy, defeating a whole army, or one challenge, But yeah, man. So, moving on now. The idea strategy, therefore, is to thwart a plan. The next best is to thwart a negotiation. The next best is to thwart a strategy. The inferior politic is to attack a fortified area. Therefore, the superior militaries strikes while schemes are being laid. The next best attack, the next best is to attack alliances. The next best is to attack the army. The lowest is to attack a city. Siege of a city is only done as a last resort. Now, if you look at what's going on, in Europe, that what happened. Russians tried to basically capture Kiev and got pushed back, and then that allowed more momentum for a counterattack, right? So that's why, in that example, or in this part of, the war says, the lowest is to attack a city. Seize a city is only done as a last resort. You don't really seize a city, even if there's no walls anymore. You know what I'm saying? If you want to put this in the context on which it was written, there's there was wall cities and things of that nature. But now we don't live behind walls and things like that. We don't have to, in the sense, but you still do not attack what cities. You know what I'm talking about? Unless you're General Sherman. Atlanta. But it is what it is. I mean, they did the same thing. Well, Vicksburg, but hey, it is what it is. But they talk about that murder in Atlanta. You even see it in dang on Gone with the Wind. God is my witness. That dang well. But yeah, man. So here we go. Do you when the opponent is setting up a plan to mobilize its forces, if your army strikes and suppresses them, that is best. Therefore, one of the great warrior emperors said, those who are good at getting rid of trouble are those who take of it before it arises. Those who are good at overcoming opponents are those who win before there is form. So it's still reiterating what's already been said. you know, Lucky I didn't get struck with a copyright because I wanted to use Boondocks for this, Sting Meaners episode. But I thought, copyright again. But when Huey is trying to train his granddad in a sense, and tell him don't fight, while Riley's saying, yeah, son, get him, granddad, and Riley's like, granddad, the only way to win is not to fight. But what he ends up fighting and then it ends up killing him, and then you got Riley's like, dang, granddad, you didn't have to kill him, But it is what it is, man. It's the same thing. Those who are very skillful, and strategic, overcomes opponents, before there is a conflict. Sometimes that's why Chief says, hey, he's a fighter. Like I said, Suge Knight, New York, you know what I'm talking about? But he lay hands on you. But he finds other means, making jokes and things like that, before a conflict actually arises. He even talks about it, and usually, that's how you want to take. You want to steer away from conflict because usually, dang, there's so many examples being used like that part in dang on Boys in the Hood, right? Where they basically parking lot pimping. I just say like that. They basically parking lot pimping and Blood runs into dang on Ricky, and Ricky, takes offense to it, and then it causes a problem. But there was no there was just an exchange of words, but then what? Somebody started shooting. It's all fun and games till somebody started busting. But yeah, man. So yeah. All right. Now Ho Yang Shi of some Dynasty commentator said, um, when the enemy begins to plot and attack against you, you first attack them. Um, this is easy. Figure out the direction of the enemy's plans and deploy your forces accordingly, attacking at the outset of their intentions. So there goes with that striking force or the element of surprise. What I'm talking about, as we say, the element of surprise, always surprising the enemy where they at least think where you are. This is some of the benefits of guerrilla warfare. Also so many dang on wars. You can use the Vietnam War. Especially when it comes to the Viet Cong, and you really not knowing where they were. They just show up. And then you find out they were, sometimes they be under the ground, like literally underground. And then you have to, throw grenades and inspect holes and things like that. And you find this entire network. But yeah, man, but they were always, element of surprise when it came to them. They'd just be on top of them. You'd be like, whoa. And then that instantly shocks you. You know what I'm talking about? and you don't know how to react and respond because of that element of surprise. You catch your enemy off guard. You know what I'm talking about? But yeah, man, they know where you are. You don't know where they are. You know what I'm saying? I'll also say that. So when she says, it means if you cannot completely thwart the schemes of the enemy, you should then work on his alliances to try to make them fall apart. Sometimes, especially um now, well, we'll just say for the last 100 years, there have been many coalitions, especially when it comes to, the Great Wars, World War One, World War Two. Um, you could say Korean War, because you had basically the United Nations in America, but also you had China, who was for the North Korea. They participated. You can also say Russia, Soviet Union did as well because they were communist countries. Um, when it comes to like the Vietnam War, this was something I didn't know, but South Korea was there, fighting with the U.S. fighting with the U.S. But I didn't know that till later on. That South Korea was also in there, and then you have like Operation Enduring Freedom and so many dang coalitions. That was one thing. Like when I first got to Afghanistan, and got to Bagram, and I would look around, because I didn't stay that long, but I was just glad we landed right because I don't like planes, especially that plane. But when we first got there, I'm looking around and I see all sorts of got the Egyptians there, you got the Polish there, you got the Jordanians there. You had a bunch of coalitions. You got the England. Everybody was there, and, and whatnot. Well, that's another story. But yeah, it was just amazing because I ain't never seen a coalition like that before in my life. But that was amazing how you see all these different forces, in one place, So sometimes it's best to draw a person's alliances. That's also one thing that Menelik II did with the Italians when they wanted to colonize. Not during Haile Selassie's time, but during his time. He went to the United Nations and he tried to basically coax or draw those nations into helping him instead of just letting the Italians, basically take Ethiopia for Italy. At least that's you know. But yeah, man. So, um, to be good at successful attack, deploying your forces without a hitch is yet another notch down. Therefore, um, a great warrior emperor said, "One who fights for victory in front of bared blaze is not a good general." Oh man, we keep look. There's many, many a general, man, that's done that. You know, we can name a few. What I'm talking about. But yeah, those who are warmongers are not good generals. I would say it like that. Those who are warmongers are not good generals. They do not make good generals. Those who actually like to fight and brawl, now ain't nothing wrong with liking a fight, but if you like to, you looking for a fight. You know what I'm saying? You looking for a fight. The fight ain't come to you. You come to the fight. you know, then yeah, you won't make a good general. You know what I'm saying? I'm a good officer. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to bring the fight, not look for the fight. But yeah, man. So South says when the enemy has called in its resources and it's defending the city. To attack them in this condition is the lowest form of military operation. So when you have a entrenched city, to seize them like, siege them like that is it's the lowest form of military operation. Well, I would talk about 1453 and the siege of Constantinople, but I'm saving that one. I can't talk about. I'm saving that one, but yeah, man. Now, Zhang Yu um, says the siege of cities and butchering of towns not only ages the army and wastes resources, it also has a lot of causalities. So um, it is the lowest form of attack. When you besiege a city, then your power will be used up in that. So you do it only if it's absolutely necessary as a last resort. Like I said, you do not siege the city, but I mean you see you can use this in many instances. You know what I'm saying? But you do not siege a well fortified place. You just don't do it. Unless you ain't got no choice. Unless you ain't got no choice, and you have the strategic advantage. See, that's why I sort of want to use. I can't talk about it now, Constantinople. But yeah, that's why you don't do it. So okay. Attacking a fortified area is an art of last resort. It takes 3 months to complete the preparations of armored vehicles, tools, and talents of armored vehicle. Well, it takes 3 months longer to position a gate in the wall. Furious leaders will not triumph, but will swarm, ain't like, and like. Um, So uh, that 1/3 of their force will be destroyed, and still the fortification will not be uprooted. That is the catastrophe um, of such an attack. You know, so it takes time to siege. Especially at this time when you have like trebuchets and you have to, make battering rams and things like that. But uh, to say more with it. Take 3 months to prepare your machines and 3 months to complete your siege engineering. If the general cannot overcome his anger and has his army swarm over the citadel, killing 1/3 of his soldiers, and yet the citadel is still not taken, this is a disastrous attack. So if you laying siege to any place, and usually, you want the minimal casualty. If you already lost 1/3 of your force, it's done, son. It's done. It's like when Hannibal, well, he didn't lay siege to Rome. He got to Rome, but he didn't lay siege to Rome, right? And it's like what Marball said, Hannibal, you know how to win it, you know how to win a good battle, good battle, but you don't know how to exploit a victory, you know. In that, he's just saying you don't have to lay siege to Rome. You just have to. You have the strategic, uh, know it all. To make them uh open up the gates. In a sense. What I'm talking about. You don't have to be like, oh, I don't have siege weapons. I don't have this. I don't have that. F all that. You just won the. You just won the greatest victory out here. Can I exploit it to your advantage? Make them think they just lost. Give them, demoralize them, make them surrender, which we've been talking about. That's what he means by exploiting a good victory, and whatnot. Using that strategic mindset to say, hey, we just whooped you, well, beat you. um, uh, yeah, Ricky. Um, Peace, sovereign needs. So, um, that's 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 why we say some of these. Well, that's why some of these things are there. You know what I'm talking about? But yeah, man. So, um, do you? Well, Dumu, do you's grandson. He means that it is necessary to take time to really prepare machines and construction thoroughly, lest many people be injured. As one of the ancient strategists said, those who cannot deploy their machines effectively are in trouble. It's like when you use cannon um, to for artillery at one point in time. When we use cannon for artillery, cannon do overheat. With repeated shots, and if you're not careful, if you're not careful, it'll blow up on you. A cannon will blow up on you. Especially if it overheats and the metal cracks. So you can self you know injure yourself, even if you're not on the receiving end. You know what I'm talking about. But yeah. Okay, May Yao Chen says, if neither intimidation or intelligence are sufficient to overcome people, and you have no choice but to attack them where they live, then you must take adequate time to prepare. So don't be in a hurry. Take time, know what you're doing. To get the best results. You know what I'm talking about. As also says, if the general is so enraged that he cannot wait for the siege machines, and he sends his soldiers over the walls like a swarm of ants, this is killing and maiming the soldiers. So, Songs believe that a complete and lasting triumph um, comes only through a sophisticated strategy, one that attacks persuasively on the mind of the opponent. Brilliant leaders are able to bend the will of their opponents without ever engaging in conflict. You know. So, like I said, we've already talked about that. So let's go. Okay. So this is okay. Since we've all seen, because I've covered it in uh movie understandings. I covered Kingdom of Heaven. This is actually the siege of Jerusalem. If you want to see the whole battle, in a sense, like I said, Lynx is in the first look, part one of three. Now we gotta say part one of part three. But yeah, this is where Saladin basically lays siege to Jerusalem, and Belian is the commander for the city of Jerusalem. You know what I'm talking about? And as you can see, in the battle, you know what I'm talking about, you have Saladin with siege weapon, catapults, trebuchets, siege towers. Because those things. Those are siege towers. You basically you go up the ladder. You know what I'm talking about. Basically, the front is to basically um, withstand arrows and things like that, and then you basically go off the top. To basically go over the wall. To fight the enemy. You know what I'm talking about. But as you can see, in this one, even though I would say uh, it may have been like a draw in a sense. It wasn't like a total victory, but Balian does surrender. But you know, and Saladin does win the city. You know what I'm saying? But it sort of becomes costly because at the same time you got to remember he's Saladin is basically off his fresh victory, from the Battle of the Team, you know, where where he beat Guy de Lusignan and whatnot. Yeah, yeah. I had to make sure. And that was a good victory. That was a good victory, and it could have been at least as what the art of strategy or the art of war says. It could have been exploited, into surrendering the city. Instead of basically bombarding, with catapults and things of that nature, and siege towers, siege weapons. Say that as well. Um, where as you can see, you know, towers and you know, catapulting takes time, and while all that's going on, you have infantry, as you can see. They still got to be bothered with arrows and archers and things like that. It's not fun. Somebody's going to die. In a sense. And also on the other side, um city walls have to be rebuilt, and that takes money. What I'm saying? That takes money, that takes resources. And shoot, if you ain't careful, so many days so many daggone holy sites. If you ain't careful, you gonna end up hitting something. You may really hit the dome of the rock. You never know. Or the Wailing Wall. You got to be careful in a sense. But yeah, as you can see, this is an example on how it can be costly. But also it also shows how siege warfare can be done, or how it was done in a sense. You know, so that's why this is here. Okay, I am fan on showing the whole video anyway. So let's move right on. Okay, now those who are skilled in executing the strategy, bend the strategy of others without conflict, or root the fortifications of others without attacking, absorb the organization of others without prolonged operations. So therefore, one who is good at martial arts overcomes others' forces without battle, conquers cities without siege, destroys others' nations without taking a long time. So yeah, it sort of goes back to swift strategy in that sense. You know what I'm talking about? So Lee Tran says, use tactics to overcome opponents by dispiriting them rather than by battling with them. Take their cities by strategy, destroy their countries, artfully do not die to end protracted warfare. Okay. So, a skillful martialist ruins plans, spoils relations, cuts off supplies, and blocks the way, and hence can overcome people without fighting. One way that a city can be taken is to attack a place they will be sure to want to save, so as to draw the enemy out of the city. Stronghold to come to the rescue, and then take the city by sneak attack. Oh man. Well, I was going to mention this, but the end. Well, could I use it? Nah, I don't think I can. What I was going to say is like there's this part in like this anime called Vinland Saga where they seize a city, and basically um, the main character Thorfinn, he is basically sent on a mission, basically to get the enemy out of the to basically uh, coax the enemy, right? While the others attack from the water, you know, which he does, but there's just many others though. You know what I'm talking about? Many others. Okay. It is essential um, to engage completely with the entire system. Thus, the strategy is never ending and the gains are complete. Such is the art of the plan of attack. It is imperative to contest all factions for complete victory so the army is not garrisoned and the profit can be total. This is the law of strategic siege. Um, Complete victory is when the army does not fight. The city is not besieged. The destruction does not go on long. But in each case, the enemy is overcome by strategy. This is called strategic siege. Um, in this way, you do not dull your army. Your profit is naturally complete. So the only way, basically, like I said, the only way to win is not to fight. If you do not fight, your soldiers will not be wounded. If you do not lay siege, your strength will not be exhausted. If you do not continue long, your resources will not be used up. This is how you establish yourself completely victorious over the world. Thereby, there are the benefits of a prosperous country and a strong army. This is the good general's art of strategic siege. Okay, so you don't want to exhaust your forces or exhaust yourself in anything, man. You, like I said, you can use this for yourself. Some of us take on projects, actually trying to lay siege something that's not going to work. It's not going to happen. Instead of having uh, valiant strategy, smart strategy, in that sense. You know what I'm talking about?
Only way that we can press through this denial to get to some solutions.
Oh, just like I opened the program, the codified approach is get white people, like I said on page 171 and 172, to answer those 4 questions. Everybody who is in any kind of contact with white people, any kind, and the subject of race comes up, and the code says it's best for a white person to bring it up if you're around white people. Otherwise, they say that, the conversation doesn't go very well. But if they bring up anything about it, that's an opportunity. And then you go into what do you want to do? Or what do you want me to do? Why do you want me to do it? How do you plan for me to do it or for you to do it? And what do you expect the constructive result to be? And that's just like the cartoonist that we were talking about earlier, just a few minutes earlier, who has made those remarks. Well, rather than start talking about firing them and all like that, you can just deal with what he says. I mean, this is an excellent opportunity to do what I suggested, and that is black people just huddling somewhere in a basement talking to each other about how miserable our situation is over and over and over again until we just nod off to sleep. Talk to the white people because that's what we have to talk to eventually anyway. That's who we got to negotiate with. White people understand that. That's how wars are started and ended. I mean, if they're going to start or end at all, usually people doing some talking. That's why back in the 1940s, Roosevelt said the Japanese have bombed Pearl Harbor, and so now we've gone through the talking stage. Now we're getting into the fighting stage. So I'm declaring. See, this is part of the talking stage. I'm asking the Congress to declare war, because the Congress is the legislative branch, on the Empire of Japan because they have struck us in a surprise attack without warning. We didn't have any warning that this is going to happen. So now I'm going to, through talking with them, I'm talking to the folks who are going to do the fighting, because I'm the leader, and your sons and daughters, we got representative government here. I'm asking you to go to war, since they have gone to war with us, to go to war with Japan, to strike back, and don't stop until it's finished. But they talked. I mean, they talked to each other about how to respond. And then once the decision was made, that was it. That was according to a code, whatever you want to call it, but they said congressional legislation. So it's the same here. But we haven't even been talking to white people. We've been talking to each other and huddling with each other. But at some point, you got to get out on the field with your opponent, the people who are opposed to you, and the action takes place there. Every coach knows that. You just don't huddle into the locker room forever. You have to come out on the field. So black people, we're excellent at talking to each other. Well, if y'all hadn't done this and y'all haven't done that, and, if we just, we got to do something about our sellout and black leaders, and then round and round and round in a circle. But when white people come and say, well, we're ready to talk, what do y'all got to say? Well, Black Lives Matter. Somebody got to do something about the police. But when all the talk is done, no action has been taken. so if we talk to the white people who say the problem is you all, period, and like this white man has reported recently, saying that our solution is to get away from you. Now, in answer to the people who are calling in, that's where the code really kicks in, because you ask those questions, starting off with those 4 questions on page 171 and 172 in the textbook for victims of white supremacy. The doing part. See, it's all about doing, not just talking about doing. Doing. What are you going to do? What are you going to do in the next 5 minutes? Because some of this stuff can be settled in 5 minutes. Stuff that's been hanging on for decades can be done in 5 minutes. Some of it. So that's the part you want done if it's going to be of constructive value. But you got to at least talk about it in order to get it done. The talk comes first. But if you keep dodging the talk, nothing's going to happen other than just moaning and groaning and ballooning all over the place. And teddy bears, with black people dead. How do you stop the killing? How do you actually stop it? Not talk about stopping it. Well, we need some programs. And then when you look for the program, nobody's even starting one. Nobody's even writing out some suggestions for what the program is supposed to be. We just keep repeating, we need some programs for the youth. Now, these young boys have got to have something to do. We got to find something. It's not a plan. Something to do, like what? And so the white people got to get involved in that. We ought to know that by now. These are what we call our children. We're children. Neely Fuller Jr. is a child. Why? Prisoners of war are children. Doesn't make any difference how old you are, or where you've been, or what you've heard, and how many books you read. When you're a prisoner of war, you're a child. Somebody makes all the decisions for prisoners of war, other than the prisoner of war. We ought to know that by now, except to say that we're not prisoners of war, and then we examine that. Are we? Or are we not? Do we fit the characteristics of prisoners of war? Are we in captivity on the level of prisoners of war? Do we fit that description? Yes or no? See, all problems can be solved through what? Questions and answers. Do black people fit the description of prisoners of war in the year 2023, worldwide? Yes or no? And then we can go into particulars to ask all the follow-up questions. But we don't, we make a lot of remarks, but we don't ask questions and get answers. We ask questions, but we don't get answers, and we just move on to the next question. That's not the way it's done. If you're ever going to get anything done, you ask a question, you don't move to the second question before the first question is answered. That's how you make that mythical thing called progress that we always talk about, and we don't even know what it is, because we haven't made any. As long as black people are killing each other, just on that alone, black people haven't made any progress. Just on that alone. Our standards are too low, much too low, before we start marching down the street drumming and talking about how great we are. Once a year. Black History Month.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that was Neely Fuller, you know what I'm talking about. And sometimes when there's a debate or a war council, it's best to talk first. Negotiate first. As he was talking about, in the sense of FDR. How he talked first. You know what I'm saying? Uh, that's critical. Same thing when someone gives you a deliberate, convoluted answer to throw you off. Hold them to an authentic answer. And well, Chief says, um, hold them to an authentic answer and leave them where they stand. Exactly. That's why you ask more questions before you actually give a response. What do you mean by that? And who you're talking to, and things of that nature. Before. Oh man, man, like exactly up, man, because that conversation is still like, who bring? How you gonna bring Spartans to a gunfight? I don't know, but how you gonna bring the Spartans in equal relationships? I don't know, but it is what it is. I'm still trying to figure that one out. But yeah, you have to hold them where they stand. Hope press them. Full court press them on that one. You know what I'm talking about. But yeah, that's like when it comes to being neutral. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what you're really talking about. Those neutral countries, they just stay neutral and sort of didn't have no problems. And the infrastructure was intact. That's why sometimes we talk about Switzerland so much in the sense how in its neutrality. What I'm talking about. But yeah, man. While others were, exhausting their economies and populations, because war is costly, economically, socially, and physically, because there's mortality where it is, what I'm saying? And it's just not military, it's also civilian as well, what I'm saying? And devastation. And then you got to think about the psychological aspects of it as well, things like that. So there's so much, to it. But yeah, man, nearly for that, well, the United Compensatory Code, long title, but even that is like a military treatise or a military book, especially it's just beyond words, but what I'm talking about. But yeah, when he talks about it, and how he displays it, you can see the military genius or the military science that he put into it, man. What I'm talking about. So yeah, and he's still learning, and he's still going. He's still going with it. You know what I'm talking about. So yeah, man. So anyway. All right. So join us next strong. We will continue with part 4, right? And remember, well, don't have to be dead front. We're gonna do it. Where is it now? Uh-oh. Oh man. I'm glad I played at the beginning because I don't see it now. But I was gonna show the band picture of ANU retreat in New Orleans, June 2023, but I can't find it. So It is what it is. But I played it at part one anyway, just in case, thinking ahead. But remember, but as always, people have been messaging me, telling me they have been getting much from these sessions. Get that shit. You know, when coach tell you you do good, because I'll be waiting to say, I'll be waiting for him to say some mess. Like, I don't know nothing, so I'm like, okay. Usually if you don't say nothing, I did okay. I ain't pat my back or anything. But yeah, man, I mean, it like I say, man, it's my honor, what I'm talking about, doing, doing what I love, man, or doing, what's been given for me to do, what I'm talking about. So of course I enjoy it. What I'm talking about. But I'm glad you all get something from it. Cause I mean, there is a lot you can get from these historical references and things like that, that you may not have seen before, or that you may not have thought about, before, and things like that, what I'm talking about. But it is, but some people don't see it that way, I stand in dark blue fatigues and in the shadows. I know you do. I know. I just told him that you did. I'm like, yeah, she be in the shadows all stealth. You know what I'm talking about? Like a ninja. You know. He be in the background. He be in the shadows. How. You be like, how that big dude go stay in the shadows? You see how tall you is, big burly. Told you, should I New York, right? Like, how we not miss you? But hey, he one of them assassins, what I'm talking about. So he move in the shadows, man. Look, I want to stay in the shadows, actually I want to stay in the trenches. But don't forget as well that we have ANU Fellowship tomorrow, and we have midday affirmation. We also have womb space. It should be womb space. Yeah, should be womb space as well, so look out for that. Also, Chief y'all music, yo man, like he stays coming out with one, like every a banger, every strong, right? Like I do, like, it's cool, what I'm talking about? Because I saw what you was doing, Chief. I saw you shut out the concrete general, Kid of Red, what I'm talking about? I peeped that, but hey. My eyes perked up when you said that. But yeah, that was a good song, man, because I think the young generation would not believe that, that there's a coolness to you. You cool, man. We've always been cool. That's probably Oh, I'm supposed to keep quiet about. Hey, I thought. Well, some of y'all don't know, but I know. But the young generation probably don't know how cool, historically, we probably been, man, from Cab Calloway to dang on, well, to Superfly, to Muhammad Ali, I mean, to Jack Johnson just beat, Mike Tyson just one hit, one hit TKOs, man. I mean, and like that, Sugar Ray Leonard just oh man, just finesse and didn't even mess up his fro. What I'm talking about? Marvelous Marvin Hagler and Tommy Hitman Hearns, man. I mean, just finesse, But there's that one. He had the E-Baby, man, he had Roots playing in the background. I was like, oh man, Come on, Fanta. You know, had that part going. You know, I'm talking about. Look, he even got a house music song on there. um, trading greens for broccoli. Yeah, man. You know what I'm talking about? We really got tricked out of our cool, man. Got tricked out of the cool and the soul. You know what I'm talking about? That's what made us cool. You know what I'm talking about? You know, especially when it came to like, you know, James Brown. You know what I'm talking about? Oh my goodness. You know. But yeah, man. I mean, look, she be coming with him, man. Like on the music tip. You know what I'm talking about? Like I say, man, he the producer, you know, he is the producer, you know, and he shows it. You know what I'm talking about? You know. So yeah, man. He does it all. So check out, you know, Chibi Y'all music, you know what I'm talking about, you know, and be aware of the ANU blog, you know, that comes out also every first day, you know, as well. You know what I'm saying? So you know, be mindful of that too. But give thanks everyone. You know, I really appreciate it. Look up and see a pair of eye got staring back at you from ceiling. Exactly. Okay, it's room. I thought it was room space. I'm sorry. Well, in a sense, it is room space. Space. You know, space. But yeah, room. See? Thank you for the correction, Master Middle. But yeah, man, that's the rundown. So I will see y'all next strong. You know what I'm talking about. But give thanks everybody, and duly appreciate it. You know, so come join us next strong. You know what I'm saying? Like, share, subscribe. Don't forget, you know, ANU Life Global and apply. You know what I'm talking about. So yeah, man, give thanks and peace.